Hey there. How you doing? And this music's peaceful. Nice. Relaxing. Let's switch things up a bit. It's been a lot. Need to get ourselves pumped up for the day we got ahead. I need to measure my voice sweater. Because last time I did this, I absolutely threw my voice out the window. Oh yeah, I got a new style by the way. Check that out. I was vibing last night. Just starting OBS, just like this. Vibing to Fly Me to the Moon. Fly me to the moon, whatever. I was vibing to that so hard. That was just literally after I think I got my head on. I like it. It was cool. Definitely gives me a vibe that I wasn't thinking I was going for, but yeah, we all like a change. I think this looks better. So we'll run with it for now. And if not, you can always amend it. Make it look a little bit better. There's no point being negative. Now then, Pretzel. I believe it is in this day and age. I must ask you to. Okay. You'll be brought back tomorrow. With the good little music what you are. Because I thank you every single time for your service. But now, we must push forward. As we do this. How's that look? The music in this game is absolutely phenomenal. We're gonna carry on. Kokoro. This is part 2 of the investigation. Hopefully we get a court case and it's not like the last one. The last one had no investigation. It was just all court case. Which is so strange. Especially for this. Me too, my voice right. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. Let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yeah. Let's see if he'll take a break from his chips. Look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Now this is a British theme. So we have to present this little doodad we got from Iris Wilson. Or Dr. John Wilson. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. Present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship?
Her ladyship.
Yeah! At once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me.
Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What's so important about it? What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously. But it's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee. That's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see.
That's right. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time.
Yes, yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, they're using my name without my say-so, so it does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes. But still.
Sorry, Inspector. Must actually be difficult for you.
Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry?
Tell the gentleman, the black, whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Oh, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector. We'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding mustached Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. Just over there, look. On the first floor of that house on the corner, where that wreck of a bicycle popped up.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord's a Mr. John Garridib. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, yeah? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector. We will.
Goodbye for now then, and long live her ladyship.
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before you left. Yes. So then, are we going to see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodging? Definitely. We don't want this. We want to move. A new location has been added. This is what we want. 19th February. Mr. Natsume's lodging. May I help you? Yes. This would be the residence of Mr. John Garridib. Indeed it would, sir. And what may I say is calling? My name is Rainosuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. Shall that doesn't look like it's spelled correctly. I will convey the message to Mr. Garridib. Ah, my voice is still over. You see that, Miss Suzuka? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the very first time I've seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We only need to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Guaranteed we'll see you now. This way. Ooh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. You fail me, Twitch. You fail me. Oh, jeez, jeez, look at that. That is so perfect. He looks like a crescent moon. Okay, let's speak to the guy. Good day, you. John Garidib, at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. You excuse me, not getting up. Was shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. Oh, he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and downstairs now. I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You must really take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Mr. Garadib. You no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal, just a Folderoy, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Dash it all, woman! Be careful! Oh, dearie me. I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir. So, anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right? Yes! We'd be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only too pleased, naturally. Especially if it helps keep the peace here in Blightly. That's not good for your pipe, dude.
we forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently. As I'm sure you're aware, this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh. Is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlax Jones.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rant magazine here, so...
No.
Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So, he's in Sosiki's room.
It's a bally nuisance, that's what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss, it's jolly upsetting.
Please don't do that. Ask about Mr. Natsume. About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garadib. Please do tell us.
Yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just a week? So he moved in very recently then?
I have 2 lodgers most of the time. One on the ground floor, one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago with... Dash it all, Joan! Do be careful!
Oh my goodness. I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh? Why? He seemed to have the most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. Ah, you are so far. No. We won't be calling this man as a witness. That's for sure. No, that's a red flag. That is such a red flag. You can't be saying that. I'm really wrong about anything. I'm right about it all the time. I am so well educated. I really hope she isn't like on the jury. I hope she isn't a witness. I hope she isn't anything. Because she is going to spell trouble and she's going to be like, oh yeah, this actually happened, unless she's actually the killer, in which case everything would make such sense because she's the only person that has such a bad idea about Natsume. What if she had a way of getting to him from the window? From up here? A throwing knife, perhaps. We know nothing about this case yet. All I'm doing is analysing the situation I have. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. The shady lodger. Had you noticed anything about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchid. Do you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Obviously stuffed full of books it is, more than anyone could ever read. And he takes so much, and he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in this house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 every night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. He sounds kind of like me. Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Yeah, stop sticking your nose in, woman. Another classical British trait. I understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct?
That's right, yes. The bed below us, on the first floor, on street level.
Then how is it you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? Besides times they come back at evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed.
Good grief, Joan! Do be more careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Something doesn't add up here. Something's telling me they know way too much. They've got like some form of surveillance on these guys, or it's like, you know, the way too involved, if you would, to have nothing to do with it. It seems the incident took place around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out the window at around that time?
The window.
Yes. We noticed the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Gardeep household. So, I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. With the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well...
Yes? Was there something?
Well, nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time that... For the love of God, Joan! Watch what you're doing.
Oh, dearie me, what have I done, sir? I'm so awfully sorry, sir.
You'll be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. Oh, yes. I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garrity? The way you were talking before, it sounded like there might have been...
Well, as I was saying, it was a trifling matter, really. Nothing... Joan! Dash it all! What is the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir? Nothing happened.
Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan?
That's right, Mr. Garrett. What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what? I wish I knew. Obviously they're hiding something. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on?
Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating in there, even as we speak?
Yes. Tommy, Nats, his name, has asked him to look into the matter, so I give him a key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also have a look around in Mr. Natsume's room, I mean?
Don't see why not. Just down one flight of stairs.
Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us the case. But we have to try. We need all of the clues we can lay our hands on. Shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak to Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. Look at that enormous screen. Must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yeah, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek. Maybe let's not. It's Suzita. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. Ahem, ahem. Can't imagine the cannon being of worthwhile interest investigating, so... let's head to Mr. Natsume's room, where we meet our wonderful Mr. Sholmes. And a cat. Mr. Natsume's room. Wow! Just look at this place. And smell it. So musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think. Yes. Once upon a time. But for some reason it's been closed out with bricks and mortar. Thanks, Alira. Oh, I put myself to work. How are you doing today? So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, God, jeez. I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere. Do you? No, that's true. But according to what Mr. Garadeeb told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere, investigating. You pretty good? Just got up? Start the day off right? Have a wonderful time. I'm doing good. A little bit tired, but that's to be expected. I'm gonna start putting the work in now and really getting things up to speed and where they should be. And this dude out here? This is a start. Thank you for asking. Little cat. Oh my! What an adorable little cat. Predicted the line. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. Why do people break their windows in London? It's so that once people are inside, you know, they can kind of like do things and so people don't see. They also don't want people escaping. I think in this instance, usually it's to like cover up openings they don't want in the house. Yeah, they just don't want the windows. But sometimes they like completely rearrange it, so they'll move where the main door is into the house, and they'll just brick it up, and it will look weird. In this instance, I think it was more they're renting the room out, and they don't want the guy to escape through the window, so that he can't just run away if you catch him in the room. Good way to ensure you always get your rent. It was a tricolour Mikey, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That's made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. What else is there? Oh look! It's a beckoning cat from home. A little bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't want to bring that manky neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Jeroma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same. And this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? didn't say a word. There we go, we'll explain the window. Do you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although, all that remains is the frame around some bricks now. So really it's just the wall then, isn't it? But why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design in on a fit of whimsy. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. It does. Imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. Okay, so we didn't get his answer. Look at all those books stacked there. They're almost reaching the ceiling. They're all works of English literature. And they all smell so musty. With a volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No. What a dreamy idea. Bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book at the bottom of this pile now will ever be read again. So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime. As the tea ceremony teaches us. Just as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. Okay, I'll investigate the proper thing now. That desk seems to be wedged into the crevices between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. Wink, wink. But surrounded on all sides by these towering tomes. Surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done. Mustn't he? Oh, yes. It's a receipt from the second-hand bookshop. Your books. You never cease to amaze me, yes, Eterna. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name's on it as well. Look, at the date of purchase, 2 days ago, at 4:45 p.m. The day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in that terrible attack. Embroiled. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Oh yes, more evidence. Okay, where is it? Hidden just off sight. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Here he is. Ah. Aha! There he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes. You're it together on the SS Bria.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Let me see. What happened on the voyage? It was Kazuma Skoy. He died, tragically. Oh,
Wrong person. It was Kazuma Skoy. He died tragically. But you were a great help to us.
ah, yes. But of course, the case of Mr. Skoy. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh, well, you seem to remember something of it at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlax Sholmes. Oh yeah, because vaguely. This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam. Hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Suzato.
Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes.
I lose the first round. In truth, hoped to invite both you to my. In truth, I had hoped to invite both of you to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway.
I mean, he's pretty close. Yes, but Suzato doesn't seem like a overly male name for someone who is definitely male presenting. And maybe Naruhodo is like a very it could be a feminine name, I guess. Suzato though, Actually, it's their last names. Okay, I can't fault him actually. He's got a point. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene.
It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes.
So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short amount of time?
I'm afraid the persuasion of the new case has dulled my recollection of the past involvements a little.
A little.
It was a mistake to think that one brain attic has elastic walls. That one's brain attic has elastic walls and can extend to any extent.
These lines are actually really hard to read.
I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out a useful one. Yes, those are my own words of intimidable wisdom, you know, from the adventure entitled Study in Scarlet.
Please. There is no need to quote yourself.
I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully.
He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Shams, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about this trivial case you mentioned.
Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should only be too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case.
Mr. Natsume's arrest. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Shums. For the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road.
Natsume. Yes. I believe it was a name rather along those lines.
But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Suzuto, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
I can't believe he was looking Suzuto-san squarely in the eyes while feigning ignorance.
I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension.
Oh? How?
I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of crime.
But that doesn't make sense.
The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me. I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of the man fleeing the crime scene.
Ah, a man seen fleeing.
There were a number of books scattered on the pavement of the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking of the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question.
So, you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then?
That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculty. Hence, why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books. I found myself quite lost in the bibliophile. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No.
Oh dear. Hey, headphones. Okay, let's ask about the landlord because this guy looks like a crescent moon and I really want to know why.
Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings?
Yes, Mr. Garadib, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution that is in the services. And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British Institution that is service. I didn't think that was funny.
I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read about as much in my Great Britain primer.
And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling within.
Betoken their social standing? Sorry?
Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not drop beneath them. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance.
I had no idea.
And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garrideb.
Oh?
Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case yet, I am sure yet unable to ascertain.
I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This means he can't deduce it yet.
This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsumi has stabbed no one.
Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that that's the issue here. I mean, let's face facts. Where you live can affect your mental well-being. So, you know, looking at this place, granted, it's a lot better than what some places would try and rent out for like £600 a month. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea?
No window?
Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But been completely blocked with bricks.
Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax.
I'm done. I'm done. There's no such thing as window tax. Surely that's not a thing. Surely. Window tax. What is that? Surely not a tax on windows.
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness.
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows.
Right, we're definitely acting under a conservative government here, because it's just any way that they can pay. It's the most reasonable explanation. Oh yeah, it's not that the window broke and it's way too expensive to repair, it's just window tax. Sounds totally real. I'm telling you, our government would try to impose this if they could. It'd be like, there's way too many people looking in other people's houses. In order to alleviate this and make sure that nobody's spying on other people, we're going to impose a window tax. So if you don't want to pay the window tax, you have to board your windows up with bricks or wood. You know, we all look like we live in like the really rundown areas, apart from posh London that doesn't have to pay these taxes because they all tax avoid. I know what you do, Boris. I am no fool.
Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed up windows. Whilst the rich opened windows here, there and everywhere. In an effort to curry favour with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful and unjust. Forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light.
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. And some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, The window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see. In squaddling lodgings such as these, for example.
I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London is very generous, perhaps.
Would appear so. I've done a little digging and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago.
Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation.
Oh?
Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention.
Are you sure? I'm curious now. I'm telling you, they would definitely push that window tax. Well, I believe I've told I've told you all I can. Now. Thank you, Mr. Shums.
Ah yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of the law?
You remembered that? Did you? I was just about to say. I can't remember the name, but he remembers that we want to be a practitioner of law. A lawyer.
Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. On what grounds?
Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir. On an ambition realized. So promptly, too.
The thing is, it really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients, to trust in their innocence? I'd imagine prices in London are pretty high regardless of where you are in the city. You're absolutely correct. What could net you in London against the rest of the UK is, imagine you could have like a 2-bedroom house, like, you know, like quite decent. Two big bedrooms, a bathroom, a big kitchen, and a lounge area. You could have all that for 100,000. Probably less than that. Probably like 90,000 pounds. In London, that would net you a studio apartment, which is a all-in-one bedroom, kitchen, and maybe one other room for a bathroom. You don't want to live in London. There is a forewarning. In fact, I'll put it a better way. What could earn you what I just described there in the north, and the majority of the west, east, and south, will net you whatever this room is in London, which seems considerably worse. Sounds fairly comparable to the housing in the bigger cities of California. I've heard California is quite cheap. But then again, maybe it was one of the cheaper areas and not like super big, like city areas of California. I'm sorry, I don't know much about America and the way that your like states are broken up into different areas. To me, an outsider, I just know there are 50 or so states, and California seems to be one of them. about right though. You don't want to live in big cities. It's easier to live in like the rural countryside and stuff, and the less like touristy areas, because you're gonna, well, you're still gonna be taxed, but you're not gonna be taxed stupid. California has some of the most expensive housing prices in the US, other than maybe like New York, but I'm not sure. Really? That is interesting. Why isn't it with California though? You'd expect that more of like the other big like places like LA and stuff. It's like I thought California would be quite cheap. Not in a way of saying like, oh yeah, California is like a scruffy area, or it's like one of the scruffy states. I'm just saying like you wouldn't really expect it to be that high up. But it's like you go to like Florida, you honestly would expect Florida to be way higher on that list, even though we all know that like Florida isn't a great place. A really big tech place. Ah, fair enough. I mean, oh, well, oh, there's my geography skills showing through. I am no fool, but my geography is so far off. Shows how much I know about America. And it contains that, well, now everything makes sense. Let's push this. Let's push this to the side, and let's never speak of this again. Ah. You don't know much about Britain? By the time we're done with this game, you probably will. We're all lying, and we all like chips and sausages, and like we all eat from like chipperies every day, and what other offensive stereotypes can I think of? Britain. London is the biggest mess of a town, city, place you could ever visit. That is true. It's exceedingly expensive, and we are way overtaxed. With our taxes literally going up from today. We don't see like the politicians being taxed. We won't bring that up. We won't discuss politics. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Britain. It's got its nice places, but the overall vibe I'm not overly pleased with. Now, that's always fun. Wales, on the other hand, more taxes is good. More taxes is not good. More taxes is not good. That's more money that I can't save up for. That's more money going back into a system that hardly gives back to me. Like, for the amount of money it would take the rich, tax the rich, that would give more money back. And it's mainly for the NHS. That's the issue. It's mainly for the NHS so they can fund free healthcare. Will the rich fund that? Of course they won't. Because they have their private healthcare, so what do they care if the NHS goes under? It just means poor people can't pay for it. You can't pay for the private healthcare, so the poor die. Only the rich survive. And that's the mentality of our current government. And that's as far as we go into politics. But Wales have it right. Even though it's still part of the UK, Wales have it right. Even though there's a bad stigma towards being Welsh, but we won't talk about that because that's not very nice. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsumi didn't do it, did he? I was definitely joking, but yeah, some tax systems are not very fair. They're not. They're not. The majority of them aren't. They work because they're enforced. But yeah, it's a wavy line. I do think people should put it into a system, but it needs to be fair on all grounds. There's no like avoidance when you earn over so much. There's no like you can't pay them. It's like it should be an enforced thing, and if you're not paying them, then you need to be like investigated for it. But they won't do anything because it's called bribery. For a fraction of the cost of what the tax would be. You see, the system's flawed. I couldn't do that if Mr. Policeman came knocking at my door. If he came knocking at my door, I'd be like, you haven't paid your taxes. Well, here's the thing. I can't not pay my tax. It's automatically taken from me. But what? No, but we're not getting into taxes and politics and whatnot. That's a whole ballpark that we're gonna open a can of worms on. It's gonna get us in a lot of trouble.
My dear fellow, I have the first idea.
Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate?
Ah, yes. That was indeed my initial intention. But there were simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally.
Sorry. It's okay. It's okay. I get myself wound up with it. My fault. There's a reason I don't like talking about it, and it's because I go on mad tangents with it because I am very unhappy with the government. But we don't talk about that.
The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago. Was the Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That's all I can say. Ah, but one more thing.
Oh? What is it, Mr. Sholmes?
I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I'm quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something.
Mr. Garadib is... Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he?
Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case.
Is it our Hodo. As yet, our investigation has uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Gary Deep's secret. Yeah, let's do that.
Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo.
A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Has he? He has. Let's see if we can speak to the crescent moon and see what he has to say. Hopefully the maid isn't around because I don't like the maid. Oh dear.
Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was that detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there?
Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
Yes, rings a vague bell. Well, that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid.
Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there.
Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Now then. For the upteenth time, woman, will you watch where you're bally well doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave. You'll be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. I have much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadib is hiding something. Wrong voice. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should be doing some digging. What are you doing there? Ah! What's he doing over there? I feel like I can predict the lines so well for this. It's ridiculous. Mr. Sholmes?
Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious! When did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir. At your service. Whatever were you doing over by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam.
Please take your leave. Of course. Don't mind if we just investigate your room a bit on the way out. Sound normal? Sounds like the standard. You got to leave, and it's like you've got to say like goodbye to somebody like 50 times before you walk out, because it seems rude if you just leave with one. I've got to be going. Oh, well, think about this. No, I'm sorry. I've got an appointment. Just think about this one. No. It's awfully sorry. I forgot to go. I've got to go. But please. What do you think about today's current climate situation? I've got to go. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Goodbye. Is that autumn in China? That's just standard British. So far, this game is a perfect testament to what it is to be British.
Yet sadly, careful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks the arpeggio of such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well,
Keeping an eye on one's windows at dusk is a prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering.
one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, me?
I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind.
We all know what's coming. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to go through that again so soon. Do you mean... Mr. Sholmes?
There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo.
I think so?
There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garadib, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is certainly not what I might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it's all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you.
Mr. Naruhodo? Look. The old man's broken out in the cold sweat. Unbelievable. Seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. For once.
How? How could you possibly?
How could I possibly know? You mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts.
And I know only too well wild beasts are not tame. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
But it's obviously going to have its problems, and it won't be as good as Iris's because the last time she did one. A great deduction. The game is afoot. Nature of the beast.
It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might the beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrity, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of this beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. In fact, that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen, shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet, living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me, one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Yes, you sought to dispose of the terrifying lion, Mr. Garrity, at Batty's Circus, a travelling show currently sojourning to a nearby park. I have observed. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing gimly through a ring of fire.
You know, he was going so well when he said, oh yeah, there's a beast in this room. And now he's just saying, oh yeah, it's sold to a circus and now I can jump through rings of fire in like the mere 24 hours that it's taken. Aftermath.
Now, Mr. Garrity, it is plainly clear that you have still deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that Life pose, the distress this loss has caused you is furtively tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you must be feeling revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tear.
Yeah, the start was good, I don't know about the later part. Exactly. That's why we're here, though.
Amid the fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage.
What is that word?
Nonsense, man. I simply did not. But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. We need only to follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, this pile of bills has given you rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea.
I said it right. Visage is like their appearance. A face specifically? He just uses words that don't seem to... I don't know, they don't roll off the tongue perfectly. It might make sense, and I'm just being stupid. But they don't seem to roll off as... My vocabulary is not up to scratch for this game.
Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on your financial circumstances of your household. Indeed, feeding your beloved.
It's beloved.
Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household.
It's a very weird word to use for it. He's trying to use big words because he wants to be smart. Even though his deduction is completely wrong, and then he's going to completely backtrack on what he says.
That is exactly the detail I was trying to expose.
Then why didn't you expose it, Sherlock? No, sorry. Sherlock. As crazy as he is, I love this guy.
And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a fit of final rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
Oh, unimaginable?
The aftermath of which can clearly be seen here, observing the carpet over there.
That didn't seem to make sense.
A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken.
Oh, hearing me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I am afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wondering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the power of cake.
Someone got very hungry and decided to eat the carpet instead.
There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated
beast with an unsatiated. That's the word, satiated.
There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it, or was it not? Once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat.
But why would they eat the carpet when there's still cake left? It is a very good question. Do not question the logic. The cake is way too soft for the beast's appetite. Therefore, it must take something much more rugged and chewy, such as carpet, in order to feel like it is chewing into its own prey. There's my logic and reasoning spectacular. As you can see, I can do this job. Also, I'm not too sure on that quote. If they have no bread, let them eat cake.
Food is at the heart of all tragedy. Fact.
Whatever do you mean?
Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell it out, the nature of his final act of destruction carried out by his beast. More rugged. More rugged. Rugged.
More rugged. Ease going on. It's a French revolutionary quote. Doesn't make sense here though. I'm really showing how much I don't know history, I don't know geography. This is showing a lot. Still think it's a weird quote though. They don't have cake. They don't have bread, let them eat cake. They don't have bread, I'm pretty sure they can't afford cake. Unless you're saying that every family deserves to eat, in which case, yes, it's actually a good quote. It's a quote the most would follow, but they don't, so probably never will. Makes us more rugged. They fatten us up so they can feed us to the beast. That's why they feed us cake. We are mere living food to the animals, waiting for the day they may eat us. Like the supposed lion.
There is only one logical conclusion here. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet.
I think the quote is supposed to show that the rulers of France had no idea what the problems were. I studied that like 10 years ago. Yeah, I studied history, but I never, we never studied French Revolution. We did World War One and World War Two and stuff like that. That was like kind of in a very not offensive way to the French. I mean, they were part of it, and sort of like the Treaty of Versailles and stuff was the boring part, but that's not the point. See, my logic works. My logic is perfect. The lion ate the carpet. because it needed something more rugged.
The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India.
Once saw. Carpet gnawed on by a starving lion.
Thus concludes Helaxium's great deduction of this beastly puzzle.
It's fine, you're not expected to remember pretty much anything you learn in school, other than basics. Both an orange shark.
What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gardeeb. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too.
The conclusions Holmes makes are great. How you come to these conclusions is... It's like... It's somewhat logical. Which I think is what makes it so much better. It isn't... The best part about it is, it isn't just nonsense. It's nonsense that can actually be like... kind of shown like, hey look, there could have been something in here that destroyed everything. You know, destroyed the carpet and whatever. And it's like, yes, there is a feasible like way it could be a lion, right? But there's no proof it was a lion. But if he goes down the route of it is a lion, he makes everything make some form of sense. And it's not just nonsense of if there was. He's certain of himself from right there and then, which is perfect. Like, I've never seen anything do that before. Some of the claims don't make sense. Like looking at the Tara's cakes and lion statue. I think that's kind of like he needs a way of like flowing. We need a way of like being able to flow his logic, but police have done that before. They've like had people like watch where they look. Because even though it's like not the case here, in real life they have actually done this. Which is like kind of pretty cool, to be honest. You go around to like a suspect, you question them, and they're like constantly like that. It's just like, okay, so what are they looking at? What they're looking at over there behind my back? Is that a shotgun mounted to the wall? Our victim died of a shotgun blast to the chest, but we haven't been able to identify the weapon yet. We're going to take that for questioning. And then it turns out to be the weapon, and it's like, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just an outward example, but, you know, that never happened, but things like that have happened. So I don't think his claims are complete balderdash. I just think he jumps the gun a little too early. He's way too full of himself to be a great detective. Whereas if he slowed down and actually tried to logically reason everything properly, he could use that exact logic and the same methods he's using now to actually make proper deduction. The supposed logic behind telling if people are lying or not based on where they look and responding to a question, it's just, it's human nature, isn't it? It's like, the situation doesn't work. If these weren't in this room, if these two weren't in this room, and you were doing this somewhere else, it would like, this entire line of like doing this wouldn't work. There's logic behind telling people, I mean, that's just general psychology right there. Being able to tell whether people are lying or not. And there's the whole like, oh, you have to look top right, they're trying to like recall memories, and they have to look into the top left, they're trying to make stuff up. It's like, like looking down left or something when someone is making up a memory, right when someone is remembering things, but it seems quite questionable. It's very vague. There is some truth to it. I recall reading something about it, but I don't think it's 100% true. I think maybe there's a lot more truth in you put your eyes up, you know, like you're putting them like top left, something like that, when you're trying to recall a memory. But I don't think there's much in the ways of like, if you're trying to recall a memory, you usually just like sit to somebody and say like, this happened and this happened. It's like, and this happened, because you want to maintain eye contact with people. And the usual thing is like with police, particularly when they're questioning somebody, is eye contact at all times. Because once people start looking away, you start to doubt them. Even if they're a suspect and they brought them in, they're not like 100% certain. Just like, can you lend us some of your time? It's like, if there's eye contact consistently, it makes you a less likely suspect, which has actually been proven. But because you're so intimidated and because you're trying to think of things on the fly, people tend to look away if they are actually trying to make stuff up. You can't maintain eye contact if you're trying to make stuff up. You're a very good liar if you can. You can tell that from like from true crime shows and stuff. It's like they'll show you like people being questioned, and like they'll constantly be like, what happened next? Yes, okay. Because on file here, what we have is we have multiple people being like tortured, but we have no person. Is it you? No, it's not me. It's not me. And obviously you throw them off guard. It's like, you don't know how to respond to that. But obviously, police can't just throw accusations outward like that. It's like you've got to be very careful about how you approach that, especially with questioning people, because as soon as they think, you know, you might just have someone who's severely anxious. It's like you can't deduce it straight off that. You actually do need the evidence, but if there's reasonable doubt there, they will try like pushing things like that. They will do a lot of profiling as well. It's all pretty cool. Gotta move on. Oh, I may need another drink by the end of this. Mr. Sholmes. Sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation?
Why certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? Again.
Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside this room, a room of this size?
Indeed. This is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense.
But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Gardeeb and his maid would have been hurt. Or worse.
Ah, but that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon.
I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus. And what of the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Susato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste of afternoon tea.
This is a lie. Now I don't believe your logic and reasoning. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage. That's all Mr. Sherman's deductions need. You can do it.
Excellent! I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo.
You mean animals that land in Britain don't want to drink tea? I can't speak for the animals. Maybe the animals want to drink tea. You know, we get those like kangaroos that come from Australia, you know, and they're going into the zoos, but they just enjoy a nice cuppa when they land. That's understandable. People, on the other hand, definitely not. There's some people that don't like it. There's some people that are allergic to it. And you don't see everybody running towards the, what's the cafe in most, you don't see them running towards the Costa Cafe when they land in an airport and requesting, I want to drink the most British tea you have available. Those kangaroos, those elephants, whatever, they can have as much tea as they want. I'm just imagining now a kangaroo sat on an armchair with its legs crossed. Its very like tiny hands. Just like, glorious. I'm off the loose end. I'm telling you. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth, always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. Sophisticated kangaroo. Oh, that is something they are not. Just seeing them like trying to break through windows and stuff is that's enough for me not to want to go near a kangaroo. Far from sophisticated. They're all wearing like top hats and monocles. That's the British way. At least that's what I want to believe. That to both statements.
Let us start again, from the beginning of Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Let's talk about this monocle wearing lion, shall we?
It clearly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrity, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of this beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue.
I really didn't see that lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrity's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So, what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrity's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. Photograph. It's probably that cat we saw downstairs. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrity's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does. But you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. Oh, this is gonna hit like some really bad vibes and I don't like this.
Take that!
The true nature of this beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride.
Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit.
You've just gone on for 20 minutes about a lion.
Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Mr. Garrideb. And while we lament in the fact that her face is obscured,
We can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain.
Oh, indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast.
You definitely need a lesson in understanding women, Bella. I'm sure if I was buff, I wouldn't want to be called Beast. But hey ho, to each their own. Honored might be a stretching point. Exactly.
Too late. The fact remains that the beast which is so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence.
Whoa!
Yet we look around. The beast in question fails to prevent itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to, madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction,
It is.
your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts.
The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Shums is quite right. There's no sign of Mrs. Garadeb anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue to her whereabouts. The clue the maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garadeb's wife could be. I've got an idea, and I think that she is actually his wife. There's a reason her face is obscured. I'm just trying to 100% certainly. Look at that. Who hurt you? Rather rigid slap. Yeah, I actually feel sorry for this guy. I don't know what he's done, but hopefully he didn't deserve that. Over the eye as well. We've got mid, we've got teapot. All the glass. Let's say mid. I've got a feeling it's her.
Take that!
No. Oh well. I'm not even sure I should voice this. It's impossible to believe it could be true, yet for some reason, the thought came into my mind. This serving maid is in fact a mighty goddess of destruction.
What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'm just following the natural progression of the deduction. Sometimes, proof hurts.
Well, the truth is you do not have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt?
Yes. A lot. Okay, let's try this again. We've already established who it was the cause of the damage in the room. Yes, Mr. Garadeb's wife. It's just a question of finding out where she is now. For some reason, I feel as though she's very nearby. I just need to find the evidence to prove it. Aha! So I was right.
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's whereabouts. Ah,
Indeed it does. The flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garadeb's bride in the photographic print.
in other words, you are no ordinary household maid.
No. You are Mr. Garadeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garadeb herself.
Seems kind of rude to call her beast. Well, you know, she has kind of like scolded that guy. She scolded her husband multiple times with tea. I think while it may be rude, it's not unjust. Oh my word!
Oh. Jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly summarized, this is my wife. That's my, Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she's a...
Now that was rude. That was very rude.
It would appear you do not live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you're a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of 3rd Regiment. Man has his pride, don't you know? By golly. The sorry thing when the chap can't even afford a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of a society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly.
You mean Mr. Garadeb's wife? Had his wife work as his maid?
Precisely.
Am I right, Mr. Garadeb?
Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Top tier secret, please.
So it wasn't a raging lion, it's a raging wife of Mr. Garadeb. So let's find out what happens to the carpet then. Because it's going to be very rude if we say that his wife ate it.
Now, Mr. Garadeb. Mr. Garadeb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed. In that blithe pose of stress, this loss calls you and is vertebly tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm.
Mr. Sholmes is quite something. You still call him Mr. Garrideb's wife? Beast. Yes, as a woman that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. Perhaps something the supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible though. What could that pose really signify? Flat cheek. I pointed this out before.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that flat cheek.
And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joan Garrideb.
Well, yes.
You have been desperate to hide that slab mark on your cheek, sir. Ugh. How the blazes? How did you work that out, ma'am? Nothing escapes the notice of one's trained in the art of observation, dear fellow.
That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. Keep the other side from view.
Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer.
Oh no, this seems spot on. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, He's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap round the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. That is so perfect. I shouldn't laugh at that. I actually... The fact that they just said that. The fact... We've now established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. You can't say that. Yes. Why would the woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answers to that question. Now, why would it be the bookmark? Broken plate? Surely you clean that up. Oh, look at that. Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Before calling her a beast was rude, I think that was worse. In fact, they're just calling her fat. Mr. Garrodeb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, it isn't. It's a note. Written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Alright, first off, you can't say it's written in a woman's hand. What does that mean? That's just insensitive. I can't deduce it's a woman's handwriting. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks. Made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato. Oh dear. I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then. There you go, it's the bookmark. AKA a love note.
Take that!
Yes. Yes. It is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer.
Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. But I don't know the Bali woman.
You don't know her.
That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there.
It was just there, you say.
That's right, it's sort of an... Oh!
A likely story.
Now listen here, Joe, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place. And the note must have already been in there. So the previous owner of this book was using the note.
Oh. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean?
That's right. That's what I've been saying. Oh.
A likely story.
For heaven's sakes, woman, look at the name. It's written to James.
A likely story. This sounds like every relationship I've ever heard of.
Are you questioning my name now?
This looks like some intense relationship. And there we have it.
Arouse the suspicion of the female heart and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
Unimaginable?
The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken.
Is this where he reveals that she's really a lion? It was all a ruse. It was all a ruse and his original deduction was correct. Oh, that'd be so good. That'd be such a good twist. But once he actually gets everything right the first time. And it's like we go through and it's like, oh yeah, it's the fish statue. It's like, what's nothing else? Actually, is the fish statue. What? That'd be so good. We need to find out why she ate the carpet now.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wondering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly, indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Kings.
But surely Mrs. Garradib didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray in this room is in result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Shon's deduction that we need to fix. We only need to follow Mrs. Garradib's gaze and we will find the real answer. Okay, let's see what we can do. I already know what the answer is. I've already seen the candlestick on the floor. His original deduction, I'm just thinking of what he originally said, where he just said, oh yeah, the lion started eating the cakes, and then it's just like gone in a fit of rage, so it ate the carpet. I'm just thinking, oh yeah, if that's his wife, it's like, that is such a bad thing. You can't be saying stuff like that.
Take that!
Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the candlestick.
Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth.
Yes, the remnants of the ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible.
Indeed they are. The scorch marks, the edge, clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks. It would appear the room was the scene of a little material altercation.
Mrs. Garradib's mighty arm muscle left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room.
The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight. The whole corner of the room in flame.
Wrong person.
Yes. For the most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire.
And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok.
Elegantly put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here.
After the sparks of material discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire.
I salute you.
It was too quick for me. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Horse corrected. Elementary.
It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but weed in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels from there.
And in the
Pages of this one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material.
which your wife admonished you harshly it seems.
Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly it.
Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by fire when the candle fell on the floor?
Right to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Could barely see a body thing. It was caught between old Stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining.
That's sympathy for you.
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. Volley furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Gardeep?
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you will allow me.
How did a candle cause all that damage? Like, I can understand if the rug went up in flames, but like, surely it shouldn't have scorched the bookshelf, should it? Not to that capacity.
But all my old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke.
Gosh!
Then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There I was, backed up against the window under heavy enemy fire. Under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it all, I lost my favorite. Book called The Lion's Cry.
The Lion's Pride. Ah yes.
Your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you the title did not influence my choice in the slightest.
So, the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of ferocious beasts Rampage. Mr. Shum's deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was a total carnage. Flames everywhere, the old stick in full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was this?
Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Around 5 o'clock, I think.
So, at exactly the same time, this terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window in the street below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole Blighty could have gone flat. Could have been flattened outside my window at that moment. I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you?
Well, I think we've gotten to the bottom of Mr. Gardeep's situation now, but what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstance?
Can't help you there, I'm afraid.
What?
My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret could prove to be relevant or not.
Here's the thing, it depends what she threw at him. If it was a knife, then it was just a spot of bad luck. I just knew you were gonna say that.
Oh. Now, Mr. Naruto, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of two categories. Those relevant to the case, and those not.
That makes no sense to me.
Well, no matter. It is far greater importance that you make up your mind now.
Sorry?
Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over.
Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's care, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell. Must prepare supper for Mr. Gardeeb. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. The Seki-san will be waiting for us. And I'm going to have to give him an answer. Go to the prison. Give him the answer. It's going to be we defend him, but this isn't the prison. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's hail a cab. Oh. What's the matter? Hey, something's going on over there. In front of the Garadep's house. Who is this guy? Alright, so he's got the same theme as Giselle Brett, who was the killer in the first chapter. And your very alluring appearance doesn't exactly scream innocence to me, fella. Not in Britain. I know thee not, old man, fall to thy prayers.
Who you call old man, you ram-looking nimmy pinnacle?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Is this Horatio fella? Eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
Eh? What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry. That was the wrong voice. I'm sorry. It just looks as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryanusuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Eh? A lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I would be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law.
Fine. I'll be on my way for today. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get to the nunnery.
Do I look like a blooming nun to you?
Who is this guy? I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but, are you a lodger here in the Garadib residence? Oh, far eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garrity mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, the gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist in my battle of words. Near could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? Who is stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what really happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. I'm so sick he's down in that man as lodgers. The Garrett Deep house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. This is the part where we tell him we haven't been able to really get any evidence. We have like 3 pieces of evidence. One is a map and the other is a receipt. And that's all the evidence we have. That's all the evidence we have, sir. If we defend you, we're probably at a major disadvantage. I forget the voice I give this guy. Okay, let's make him a 1. I think I gave him the same voice as Herlock. I'll be quite honest. Oh, it's you. Oh yeah, you came. Welcome, student of Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched. Yeah, so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with leisure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never fanged Nipponese! Oh no. Oh no, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than a familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... Oh! It is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Is my belief, at least. Oh, it's... yes, you! The miserable, rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything, per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room. At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, this is the superior option. Yeah, he's not subject to window attacks. Oh no, it might be. It depends. Does jail cell count as a window attack? I know he's got them little bars. That's a window. But does the actual jail cell door count as a window as well? It's like part of it's a door, but part of it isn't. Depends what part of it classifies as a window. You might have to pay the window tax like 4 times.
Anyway, I must condemn you on your taste in books. Oh no, commend. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight. It cost me not a penny. You! How dare you! Alex Sholmes! Ugh. I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I'd never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is betterment.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? You mentioned once before, didn't you? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean?
And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's word.
What?
Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, say. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial.
What's that supposed to mean? The trial's going to be cursed because it's Baron von Zykes who's proceeding prosecution, which means he's probably going to die. If it's anything like the last trial. Mr. Natsume, what do you mean when you said what you just said now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. That's really agitated him.
You don't mean trial really is cursed somehow?
Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey?
Oh, the Reaper? Oh no. What do you mean? Please, tell me. Summarize these 16 salient words.
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have told him that.
Oh my goodness, can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly.
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGill.
What? Ah. I'm impressed, Miss Suzuki. You have an eye for detail.
Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Dyke killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have. Surely.
Oh, you have some wonderful notion.
Sorry?
The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor. Hello.
Oh yes. Why, of course he is.
Of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis.
What on earth do you mean by that? Let's see what the Reaper has to do with any of this. Exactly 16 words? I don't think it was intentional. The sentence seemed to be like, oh yeah, no one's ever survived. I think we would have put it in a more poetic way if it was intentional. It would have been something like, I don't know, thou hast never survived thy trial, where Lord Van Sykes oversees prosecution. So thou may die. Exactly 16 words. In a more straightforward but more poetic way.
Van Zykes is quite the exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. That's good.
The Seki looks like he's about to cry tears of joy.
As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated.
Right.
Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use that to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail.
But it means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly, it is, from time to time, my dear madam. It is simply the reality of the situation.
And that's alright?
However, those indicted by Lord Van Zykes cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed.
Hi.
Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how? Don't tell this to the guy before he goes in. Please.
Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are all trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no.
All examples of the reality event here in London.
I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm A dead dodo done for doomed.
I'm not certain. Given what I saw in that last cutscene at the end of the last episode, I don't think Van Zykes is the killer. I don't think he's killing people. I think there's somebody maybe watching what Van Zykes does and then is killing on his behalf. Like, he doesn't know. He doesn't know it's happening. Basically, he's gonna have like some weird thing about him. It basically says like, oh yeah, it's like this person has been killing anyone who fails to be passed under justice under Baron Van Zykes. And it's gonna be like something like that Van Zykes doesn't actually know. So I think that's potentially what this is gonna be. When you say accursed lodgings before, you're referring to your room at Mr. Garadive's house, I assume. What do you mean by you say believe the curse? What do you mean to... Do you mean to say that you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London for a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Oh, that didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dusk till dawn. I'm glad we're on the same page. Van Zykes can't be killing him. There's no way. Because I bet we've got to defend him later on. That's usually how these games go. I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been from your homeland for such a long time. I had to move a number of times, most recently that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes. Why did you choose there? It's a little inconvenient. Rent is cheap. I have so little money. It appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, if you have something to say, then say it. If not, don't mention it in the first place. Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, one person on my side.
no one find it in his or her heart to believe me. Really, no one at all.
You believe. Yes. You believe. I agree. I want to believe in you. But I have very little information about this cat. Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo? Right, what can I do for you?
It's about the case on the SS Beria, if you recall.
The Beria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake.
Well, yes. Wasn't really a snake, but go on. At the time, I was a suspect. But you believed in me and you listened to my side of the story. And you helped us investigate.
I did. Did I? Interesting.
What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe in me?
I see. Yes. You mean... because you were grimly dressed. You were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room.
Well, if you like, yes.
I'm a little surprised that answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple. You said, I didn't do it.
But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little.
I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I never recall believing you, nor in that which you were telling me.
What?
You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in.
What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
I make up my mind about what to believe in and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I am concerned.
But I could have betrayed your trust.
In that case, I have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion.
Meaning?
Whether or not one should trust another in the final analysis down to oneself is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma.
Well, my dear fellows, it's time we were leaving, I believe.
Already?
Visiting hours are almost over. The guard will be here shortly. Escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me?
Oh dear. There is never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you.
Look, John, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
Something crucial?
What to believe in? The defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe you. But I think I've finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else. To trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow.
As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to somebody who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say,
It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it.
yes, I think you're right about that. The roundabout journey, but we got there in the end. Miss Suzuta, yes. Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. It's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. But it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. So Seki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. To be continued. Nice. These chapters are perfect. They're like just long enough. And so, with that, we reach the end. Another glorious day of elementary deduction. Dance to deduce the truth. Believe. To believe in the people that we should believe in. To truly figure out what happens and ensure that justice is brought across properly. Justice, belief, happiness and truth. Things that sometimes can go straight over your head. About being prepared. being prepared to give your take, give your thoughts on things that may not be true, things that may not be right. Once you plant reasonable doubt, truth soon unfolds itself. If that's one lesson you can learn, that's the lesson you learn from Herlock Sholmes. Once he plants reasonable doubt in your mind, the truth just folds itself out. Whether he's right or not, he's a push point for a better future. Because he believes in the truth, even if he doesn't know what it is. He just believes. And we should all believe in ourselves. That way we can make a better future. There's no truth. There's no right. It's what you believe is right. And if you believe what you do is right, within the general respect that it is okay to do said thing, then that's what you must do. You must aim to be right. Believe in the truth. Yeah, they're perfect. They're perfect in length. It's actually really like ridiculous how perfect they are. I honestly didn't expect that. But yeah, with that, I'm going to head off now and sleep. Let's have a gander, shall we? Let's see. Let's see what we can do. See. I would, but it's very timed out for small tangents as well. Was the connection interrupted, Redeem? Have to find out. It is a secret that I cannot reveal as of yet. To be honest, it's just something to buy me some time. Because if I can, I do it. Basically, it's going to be a redeem that is there, but if someone does redeem it, they're not actually going to be charged for it. Or at least I'm going to try and make sure they're not charged for it. It's something there to buy me a bit of time to do something. But I can't reveal what that something may be yet. That's why there's a big old question mark there. It doesn't end the stream. No, that is one thing it won't do. It won't end the stream. Even though it says connection interrupted. Just Just know it doesn't end the stream. It'll be fine. There is people that have that for like 100 and something thousand channel points. It's like, nah. I'm not that bad. But it's still a lot. Don't worry though. Doesn't end the stream. I don't stream enough to do that. But we will see in time. Who knows? It might even be me that redeems it. It's all on the timing and when I can get things ready. Totally fair. I just didn't want to bother with it. It's one of those end stream redeems. Nah, it's not an end stream redeem. It wouldn't end it. I'm not going to delve too much into what it is. You have the end stream. That's not an end stream redeem. I have the other ones, which is like the improv story or whatever. I'm going to change the custom crowd control because that's not very good. But I'm going to basically just change some of these because I just put them in. The connection interruption though, that was planned from the start. You'll be hopefully seeing what that is soon. Is to try and motivate me though to do something. Knowing that someone could hear that. Motivating me to get it done. We had a fun stream. I had some music put on to end, just to wind down a little bit. And now, say goodbye. Bye to another day. Sorry, I came in at the tail end. That's alright, Albert. I hope you have a wonderful night. Hope we all have a wonderful night. There's no demons in our... We had a fun stream, and now it must end. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope there are no demons, no sleep paralysis demons that come and stand beside you while you sleep tonight. The world is full of good people. They will help you. But you must trust them. You must believe in them. And that's the point we have tomorrow. Belief. Belief in others. Everyone. I'll leave you with that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. So long. For now. I will return in 20 hours. Goodbye.